Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Keegan. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to hit that subscribe button and put those opinions down there in the comment section. Justin Timberlake, Man of the Woods. Justin Timberlake, internationally successful pop act and the forefront of plenty of radio hits such as Suit and Tie, Cry Me a River, Mirrors, and the infamous Sexy Back. Not to mention being the lead singer of one of the most popular boy bands of the 90s, NSYNC, who also had a plethora of radio hits. However, after NSYNC split up, JT went solo, and is still going strong to this day, with this being his fourth, and as of recording this, latest studio album. Not to mention very polarizing as well. Some people love it, but more people don't love it. So what side do I stand on? Let's find out as I review this album, track by track. We'll start out with the singles, with there being 3 of them, the first one being the ever-polarizing Filthy, which people could never directly decide if it was good or not. I'm personally leaning towards the fact that it's good. Sure, the transitioning between arena rock on the chorus and bass-heavy, funky verses is a little bit awkward, but god, those verses are so fun and alive, which really reminds me of Sexy Back. Lyrically, I'm still not quite sure what filthy hands is supposed to mean. Is it like sinful? Which would make sense with the following line of no, this ain't the clean version, as in it's not PG. In all honesty, I don't care what other people say. I enjoy this track. The second single, Supplies, which was even more universally hated. However, I still stand on the side that I don't mind it. It certainly got a lot more of a rap influence with a rap flow and a rap beat, and even Migos-inspired ad-libs. In fact, that's what this song actually reminds me of. A Migos song, but with these high-pitched, shimmering synths in the background, much like Stir Fry. But Stir Fry has a bit more of an undeniable groove than this. This one just feels a bit more stiff. JT's melodies are still nice on this track, however. Lyrically, I don't quite know what he means by supplies, but he does mention Walking Dead, so I'd assume literal supplies. Again, I don't mind this song. And the third and final single, Say Something with Chris Stapleton, which is the only song from this album that has actually stuck around on the radio. I didn't care for this one on first listen, but over the couple of years that it's been out, I've definitely warmed up to it. It has a nice breezy country-inspired feel, very relaxing, almost like I'm sitting on my porch in the middle of summer. I don't own a porch. Both vocalists do pretty well, Chris more so than JT as he is the designated country artist here. JT sounds a little bit too clean to properly blend in with this instrumental. Lyrically, it seems to be about a relationship and how people keep telling them to say something to each other, but they can't help and don't want to get caught up in the middle of everything. Not a bad song, but certainly my least favorite of the singles. Now for the rest of the songs. Midnight Summer Jam is, as the title implies, it's a jam. Much like Filthy, it has another very bizarre transition between bass-heavy groovy pop and acoustic down-to-earth almost country. Justin goes full falsetto on the chorus, which does get a bit tedious later in the song, but the verses are quite nice, as JT does have good chemistry with this instrumental. Lyrically, it kind of seems to be about some sort of dancing designated only for midnight, which immediately clicks to mind like it's some sort of weird ritual. Justin even mentions dancing in circles on and on, maybe a bit of choreography. However, it is over 5 minutes long, which is a bit too long for my taste. I still enjoy it regardless. Sauce is kind of an awkward song. It has this extremely gritty guitar riff and Justin going full falsetto on this. Something about the chemistry does not work here. I think this would be a lot better of a Filthy type beat, something very bass heavy and pop leaning, not this Red Hot Chili Peppers inspired beat. Lyrically, Justin really is trying to remain hip with the kids on this one, talking about how this person has the sauce, because oh, I know what the sauce is. I mean, it's fine, it's tolerable, but I wouldn't return to this one. The title track, Man of the Woods, just may be my favorite track on this album. For one, I really enjoy the more mellow, vibey tone of the instrumental, almost sounding tropical and exotic. Justin also sounds nice over this track with his more calm, sultry delivery blending perfectly with this. Lyrically, it's basically about how he shows off his wife all the time, but that's his pride, he can't help it. Also, he mentioned on the pre-chorus that his hands move down towards the faucet? Is there something about her that you just admitted, JT, that we didn't know about? Jokes aside, this just takes me to a tropical island, and I love that feeling. Fantastic song. Higher Higher is probably the closest this album gets to older JT material. He sounds a lot more comfortable over this R&B influenced instrumental like it's something out of that 2020 experience. This song, in my opinion, also suffers from a problem that a lot of the songs on here also suffer from, in that being it's too long. Being over 4 minutes, it could have easily been shortened down to 3 and be more memorable. Lyrically, it's mainly about getting closer to this girl, or getting higher, as he puts it. Honestly, pretty good song. Wave has a very similar situation to Sauce, with Justin trying to appeal to millennials. Oh, my phone doesn't have any waves, which is meant to mean Wi-Fi signals? Where I come from, I don't know about everyone else, we call them bars, so it just feels awkward for me. However, sonically, it does suit Justin a lot more than Sauce did. It's got much more of a lively, perky pop feel with a fun acoustic guitar. Yet again, I think it's a little bit too long, but it's still a jam. Not the best, but certainly not the worst either. Morning Light featuring Alicia Keys, genuinely after listening to this album several times, is this album's version of filler. I just always forget about this song every single time I listen to this album, and I think the main reason for that is because the instrumental is so sleepy. I just essentially zone out, I can't even focus on this song. JT and Alicia are fine, they have good chemistry, in fact. Alicia is probably the best part of this song, hands down, but even with that, it's just forgettable. Lyrically, both singers are expressing their love towards their respective partners and how they dream about them. Fitting lyrical theme for the instrumental, but I just can't get myself to remember it. Not bad, just not memorable. Hers, which is an interlude, kind of started on filthy with this woman's voice talking. There's a very smooth, delicate piano, and her voice is quite calm as she speaks about how she feels when she has his shirt on and how that's such a special feeling. It's an interlude, it's nothing special. But it does kind of fittingly transition into Flannel in the same way as Justin sings in an almost spoken word level of handing this girl his flannel to keep her warm, which is very sweet. Along with the instrumental, which is also very sweet and elegant when paired together with Justin's calmer, more sincere delivery. Unfortunately, while the song itself is barely over 3 minutes, the end of the song is that same monologue from the woman going on for 2 whole minutes, making the song just a little bit under 5 minutes in total. I'm sure if you can cut that part out of the song, it would be great, but because of the outro, it's not a keeper. Montana is, in my opinion, one of the 2 underrated gems from this album. Of course, the second one will be coming later. The song has this undeniable groove to it with a very funky electric guitar and a very sexy bass. Yes, I just called the bass line sexy. Justin sounds the most comfortable he sounded on this whole album on this song, and this song just hits the right notes for me. Lyrically, deep down, it is a love-making song about how nothing could be better than her and him together. Very nice song, again, quite underrated. Please check this song out. Breeze Off the Pond kind of kicks off this country leg of the album because all the upcoming songs have some aspect of country music in them, with this one being a little bit more towards country pop and a rather tame twang that kind of puts it right on this fine line between the 2 genres. Thank God Justin can pull this off and it's not too awkward. Lyrically, it really seems to be about enjoying the land and the countryside, which is quite accented by the instrumental. Not a bad song, I wouldn't mind keeping it around. Livin' Off the Land is that second gem that I mentioned earlier. Something about this song just gets me into the right mood, and I think it's the mix of the thumping, very heavy drum work and Justin's melodies fusing together into this very enjoyable combination. Not to mention being accented by a relaxing country-inspired guitar. Lyrically, Justin does make a couple references, I guess, to being a country man, such as working all day and night, wishing he had help, along with going to church every Sunday. This is actually a really fun song, another one that I'd highly recommend you check it out. The Hard Stuff is a full-blown country song, no cross-genre blending here, and despite being the shortest song on this album, barely over 3 minutes, God, it feels like an eternity. Justin definitely is not suited towards a direct country song. Country pop? Maybe, but not this. It just gets so sleepy. He doesn't have the gritty and raspy voice for country that makes it interesting. He's no Blake Shelton or Chris Stapleton, that's for sure. Lyrically, it's just a love song about how he wants a difficult relationship and how that makes him real. This is probably the only song on this album I genuinely hate. I can't stand it. Please skip this one. And finally, the closer, Young Man, is a very sweet closer, dedicated to his son. It's got a very nice, relaxing, calm vibe. Justin sounds quite nice over that acoustic guitar, and while it does have that same country influence, it's not really that boring or sleepy. Lyrically, he's essentially giving advice to his son about getting a nice girl, settling down, enjoying life, even though I believe he's way too young to properly understand that, but I'm sure when he gets older, he'll take it to heart. Quite a sweet song, and a nice closer. Overall, in my opinion, this album gets way too much unnecessary hate. Sure, it's a totally different style for JT, and sure, it did flop in a couple places, but there's still a decent amount of fun material to salvage out of it. So yes, I am on the side of enjoyers of this album, and I will proudly stand by it, or at least most of it. I'm feeling about a pretty solid 7 out of 10 on this album. Well guys, hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.